Hey friends, welcome back to the Destination Baby and Kids YouTube channel. This is Gina. I am very excited to be here with you today to do a review of the Joolz Aer². That's right, my viewing audience has effectively bullied me into getting one, and then I was able to bully my rep. So thank you so much, Ben. You are an amazing rep. And before we launch into the video going over the Joolz Aer², go ahead, like, follow, subscribe if you haven't yet. And also, if it makes sense, head on over to my website, destinationbabykids.com. I am a real brick and mortar store here in the San Francisco Greater Bay Area. So if you like this Joolz Aer² or are curious about the product, head on over to my website, destinationbabykids.com. Best way to show support is to purchase from the website. Okay, thanks so much. Let's launch into the Joolz Aer². All right. So there is an original Joolz Aer. This is not that product. This is the newest, latest, and greatest option from Joolz. We're very excited about it. There's a lot to like here. So let's launch directly into some of the statistics and things that make it special. So Joolz is going to be a very green company. That's something that they advertise. You know, they have a whole section about the recycled plastic, and it even says in the basket, I made with recycled plastic. So if you're looking for a more green, conscientious type of product, Joolz is going to be a good option for that. Now, something very special is that they have a 10-year transferable warranty. So what does that mean? That means that if you were to gift this or to buy this secondhand from someone who had it registered originally when they purchased it, you would still be able to utilize the warranty. It is a 10-year transferable warranty. So this is really, really special. Almost nobody in the business does anything like this. You know, Baby Jogger does a limited lifetime warranty. However, this is very, very special because it is a transferable warranty. So we would want to point that out. That's going to make this product very, very special. Now, cost on it is going to be $549. It is a travel stroller. So it does have a one-hand fold. As you can see, it folds up very small, can go in the overhead, has a strap. It is very lightweight, folks. It clocks in, I believe, at around 14.3 pounds. So super lightweight, which is awesome. Opens up one-handed, closes one-handed. Now, another thing that they're going to brag about with this product is that the recline is newborn compatible. That's special compared to last year's or the previous edition. And everything on it, they're going to really, really hammer home this sort of one-handedness. So you have a great big sunshade that's going to give you full sun coverage. It does have an additional gusset that you can zipper up on the top. Also, when you open it up all the way, there is some mesh ventilation built into the top of the canopy, which is awesome. We'll get into the statistics in a second, but something that's very, very special about this seat is going to be the backrest height. So it's extremely tall. It's 21 inches, and then our canopy clearance is 24 inches. So that's pretty exciting. Harness is going to start at an 8-inch minimum and then raise all the way up to this other guy over here you see is 15 inches. The seat width is 14 inches wide and the depth is 8 inches. Crotch belt depth is 5. The leg extension, which is this piece here, which is also theoretically one-hand adjustable, so that can kick up or down, that's 6 inches. The knee drop, which is the knee going to the little plastic well here, that's going to be 8 inches. Handle height, the handle height is going to be 41.9 inches, so almost 42 inches of handle height. You do get a nice clearance here in the back for not kicking it. It is a sandal-friendly brake, so we love that. The front tires are not lockable. Now, this is common with this style where you have narrower wheels on the back, like the setting of the wheels is narrower, and then our front tires are wider in the front of the stroller. So almost always when you have that type of setup, you're gonna notice that our front tires are not lockable, but that is common in this type of style. That basket underneath will actually hold 17.6 pounds, so that's very exciting. And the size of it is 13.5 wide by 18 deep. So it's a pretty generously sized basket. The front of the basket would be 5 inches, and then the back of the basket is 7.5 inches for the opening. So that's how much space you have to take stuff in and out. Now, it is a newborn recline. So this is getting back to that one-handedness that we're going to talk about. On the back of the seat, the recline is one-handed. So there's a zipper down here, and this seat will unzip, and that's part of the recline. So that's just part of it. So I was able to do that with one hand. There's a little piece right here that's a hook where if I unhook it, the seat will now drop fully down, And this recline is now going to be deep enough for a brand new baby. But if you wanted to, you can also kick this foot plate up, and then underneath, just like with most of the other brands, you do actually have to unzip to find it. There is like a little mesh cover up that snaps onto the stroller if you want. I think I have it reversed the wrong way. But the point of the story is it will snap and you can have the little apronette like you get with the other guys. You'll see that's also mesh, which is very cool. Nice and breezy for the baby. And then I do like that it zippers away when you want to put it back underneath the seat. So sometimes they'll have these pockets for these pieces and they don't actually tuck away in a way that's meaningfully neat. So I do like that. Now, let's talk about this one-handedness. I would argue almost no strollers you can actually sit your kiddo up for travel strollers, okay? So with travel strollers like this, sitting your baby upright, claiming that it's a one-handed operation, I don't know how truthful that is. The reason why I say that, I'm gonna put the brake on, is because we would need to do two things. Baby would be in here, and then we would need to be able to pull this up enough with the weight of a kid in here, like dead weight, pushing back or fighting us. I think aligning this hook with this little strap with a kiddo sitting in the seat pushing on me, and as you see, I'm trying to do it right now, it's very difficult. So that's one part of it. The second part of this to be mindful of, because again, if they're gonna hammer home this one-handed story, let's think about it logically. We've got it partially sat up now. To have a complete setup, we're gonna wanna push this fabric all the way up and forward. And again, with kiddo sitting in there. And then the next thing that we did, remember to undo it, we unzipped it. Now we're gonna zip it up to put it all together. So I'm gonna go ahead and zip, and I'm trying to do it. Slow and steady wins the race here. But again, they're the ones making the claim about the one-handed, not me. So what is my point with this? This is all doable, and yes, it's one-handed. I would argue, like most products, that would be 1,000 times easier just to use your second hand and shove your kid more upright. So sit them up like that. And then when you're zipping, you can make sure that the zipper doesn't catch on any of the fabric because you'd be feeding it in there a little bit more mindfully and gently. So, not a good or a bad thing, just a different way to tackle recline, which is quite ingenious. And we'll see what consumers think about that. I would get a little nervous about possibly catching the fabric in there, like I said, so you would just want to be a little bit mindful when you seat your sit upright. Now, to be fair, any other seat, when you sit it upright, with the exception of like the Nuna Travel LX, which you can push up with your leg, most of the time you're still, even if it's a single hand strap to adjust, you're gonna have to push up with one hand and pull with the other. So I'm not gonna knock it and say it's a bad recline because again, we don't have enough information. This is a brand new style to be able to say that, but it is different. So we would just wanna point out that difference to consumers and make them mindful to do it carefully so that they don't get their fabric caught or stuck. Now again, 10-year warranty, so if you goof it, I'm sure they'll stand behind it, but just something if you don't wanna have to worry about that to be mindful of. The seat, again, when you sit it up, this was one of the things I was talking about. Had I used two hands here, I probably could have done this in a way where this additional fabric wasn't lumping forward and bumping into kiddo's head. You see what I mean here? So again, I would argue, while I like this recline a lot, it is definitely going to be better for kiddo probably if you do it with two hands. And then you can make sure that it's super perfect when you sit it upright if you're fussy about that or if your kiddo is. And it does come with a removable interior liner which can wash. There is nothing like underneath, so if you take it off and wash it, you know there isn't like additional fabric underneath for kiddo to sit on, but it is removable and washable, which is a very nice feature. So again, there are extra accessories. We'll show you in a different video the bassinet, which can go directly on the frame. Very cool, folds with the bassinet on it, and it is a freestanding bassinet, so that's very, very cool. They do a lot of other accessories. We will get into that, and we will show it versus some other travel strollers. So if you want to check out any of those videos, go ahead and watch them. Thank you so much, and thanks to my fabulous viewing audience for hassling me to the point where they got their way. We'll compare the Joolz. Now you all can see Joolz Aer², lots of color choices. The basket always matches the seat color, so that is something to be aware of. I love tan, but if you think that might get filthy, walking around with a tan basket, black or one of the darker colors probably makes more sense. Check them out on my website, destinationbabykids.com. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in one of our other videos.